Welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. It is Friday, July 17th, 2015. It's a little hot right now. It is a cool 100 degrees in Phoenix. And again, there's a lot of hot topics here going on right now. See what I did there? So, of course, NFL, we got Dez Bryant and Demaryius Thomas getting big contracts earlier this week. What does that mean for the next set of wide receivers for next season? Big contracts coming out of Pittsburgh as well and Kansas City. So that's going to be pretty interesting to talk about that. And Reggie Wayne, he is still a free agent right now. What teams are looking at getting the veteran wide receiver from Indianapolis? And, of course, the Tom Brady appeal. That's pretty important as well. From football to football, we're going to talk about Gold Cup action right now as well, see what's going on there. Some players moving around Europe, and arguably the best player. There are a lot of players that I like in soccer, but nothing's going to beat the player I'm going to talk about at the end of the show. That'll be my final topic at the end of an era, really. And how sad it is, actually. Again, you have your eras, and especially in soccer, where that time can be really short. And it just seems like yesterday where everything was great, everything was, fantastic, and now it's over. So we're going to talk about that at the end. But again, thank you so much for listening. It's pretty exciting being out in Phoenix, I'm not going to lie. It's my first time out here, and I was first, when I first got off the plane, I think it was about 9 p.m. I think it was Wednesday night. And I was like, you know what? It's not going to be that bad. It's probably going to be like mid-90s maybe, or upper 80s. No, it was about 105 when I got out. And the first couple of breaths, I'm not going to lie, were pretty bad. But we got adjusted to it. So I've been around Phoenix, got around, no problem. I'm going to go to a Diamondbacks game following the show. They're taking on the Giants tonight. 6:40, I think, local time. So it kicks off. So I got pretty good seats. So I'm pretty happy about that. So without further ado, we're going to talk about some NFL. So, of course, Dez Bryant, Demaryius Thomas, two of the premier wide receivers in the league, getting big contracts earlier this week. 5 years, $70 million. Guaranteed money, I think Dez got 45, where Demaryius Thomas got 43.5, roughly, guaranteed money. There have been talks about whether or not collusion is, a big deal. Look, players really can't collude too much. Maybe they can, but 5 years, $70 million. Is that a lot? Potentially. I mean, and the guaranteed money is a lot as well. And if you think about it, in March, Ben Roethlisberger from the Steelers signed a new deal with them with 31 million guaranteed, whereas these wide receivers got 45 and $43.5 million. So, is it possible? And again, they're in the top three now, by the way, along with Calvin Johnson, who got $100 million with 50-ish million guaranteed. Now, Calvin Johnson's a once-a-generation specimen, maybe once-in-a-lifetime type of specimen at the wideout position. And Dez Bryant and Demaryius Thomas are two at the top of their game. So, realistically, I think if you do the math here, I think it's roughly about $14 million a season. Is that really worth it for a wide receiver? Usually that's considered quarterback money. If I'm doing the math, it's $14 million a season. Roughly. Right now, the contracts of $14 million a season are right around the median average for starting quarterbacks, and the guaranteed money is close to the top 10. Don't get me wrong. Dez Bryant and Demaryius Thomas are two of the best receivers in the game right now. I'd probably put Calvin Johnson at number 3 because of his injuries recently, so we got to see how he comes back this season moving forward. But Dez Bryant is arguably the best receiver in the league. I think he means more to Tony Romo than Demaryius does to the Broncos because simply Peyton Manning, even at this point in his career, he's still really good. And so he may not need Demaryius Thomas as much as Tony Romo needs Dez Bryant to perform. Because if Demaryius is covered, of course, Peyton can maybe pick the second, third, fourth, and even fifth receiver in that set and even throw it out to the tight end. And they can still be productive offensively. Whereas Tony Romo, they lost DeMarco Murray in the offseason to the Eagles, and realistically, there's nobody else that can play number one as well as Des Bryant. He is a playmaker. We've seen that time and time again. Regular season and in the postseason as well, he played pretty well. His athleticism is really top-notch. I'd say top 3 wide receivers in terms of athleticism, along with Calvin Johnson. So for the Cowboys to pay him that money, probably worth it, especially considering the fact that a higher responsibility is probably going to be placed on him at this point because of Murray being gone and because of their number 2 and 3 receivers. They're not as great. Whereas Thomas, I don't know if he's worth $70 million. I think maybe 60, maybe 55 million. I wouldn't say 70, and maybe not the guaranteed money. Again, because I go back to that Peyton Manning argument. He's still, even at his age, I think 37, 38 years old, he's still really productive, and he doesn't need a true number one. He made Brandon Stokely a 1,000-yard receiver a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago. Brandon Stokely, okay. This is a guy that after that season really wasn't that great, and then he fell off the face of the earth after that. He could probably make me at least a 900-yard receiver if I was pretty good at route running, which I'm okay at. But that being said, you get my point though. I mean, Demaryius Thomas, great receiver, and he can beat you in a lot of ways. He can beat you with his physicality. He's really big, and he can also beat you with his speed. He can blow right by you. But I just don't think they're worth $70 million, and especially with the guaranteed money. I just do not think that is by far the smartest investment for the Broncos. They may need that later on, but hey, that's why I'm not a GM. So, in that respect, what does that mean for the free agents coming up next season? If you look at the top free agents next season, you have A.J. Green, Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton. Those are the top, at least, that are probably going to get a pretty good contract next season. Alshon Jeffrey from Chicago. I mean, those are probably the big-name receivers that I would say are looking at getting big money. And it's safe to say that they probably will. I mean, A.J. Green, he's probably a top 3 receiver in the league, maybe top 4. He's 26 years old. He's been a star with Cincinnati since coming into the league out of Georgia. And has the bar been set? T.Y. Hilton put out on Twitter, is this going to be where the bar is set for wide receivers, $14 million a season? I don't know about that. I mean, especially with what you have in Indianapolis right now. I mean, you have a lot of receivers out there. And they just signed Andre Johnson the offseason from the Texans. They have Moncrief, who they drafted out of Ole Miss a couple years ago. And they have a load of and they drafted a wide receiver in the first round this past draft. So, I mean, I don't know if T.Y. Hilton's going to get $14 million. I'd say, he's only going to get what? Right now he's at $1.6 million this season. I think he's going to get a significant bump, maybe 8 or 9, possibly 10. But I wouldn't say he's going to get that $14 million. Julio Jones, 26 years old. And T.Y. Hilton's 25. A.J. Green, 25. And Julio Jones, I'm going to talk about right now, 26. He is the star wide receiver in Atlanta. He's made Matt Ryan look even better since coming into the league from Alabama. And Julio Jones is a fantastic receiver. He has blowing by speed, phenomenal athleticism. Right now he's at $10 million. Can he get that bump maybe up to 12? I could probably see 12. Guaranteed money, I would say in the ballpark maybe 30, 35 with those contracts signed this offseason. From there, we'll see about that. I mean, looking at other receivers that are going to get probably decent money. I mean, Michael Crabtree may get some money. He has only a $3.2 million this season. He may get more. Jermaine Kearse from Seattle, if he plays really well in that offense, I would say that would be pretty good. And Alshon Jeffrey from Chicago, I think that would be a receiver that would get probably big money. I mean, right now he's only paid 1.4, and Brandon Marshall's gone from Chicago. So obviously right now he's going to be the number 1 receiver. They drafted the wide receiver from West Virginia in the first round, 7th overall. So obviously Jeffrey is the focal point right now. They're probably going to place the wide receiver from West Virginia in the slot, and then Jeffrey is the number 1 now. So he should be paid number 1 money, which of course is in the ballpark of at least $10 million. Hakeem Nicks could be a player that may be in the ballpark for some for a significant increase. He's 27 right now, will only get paid 1.4. Can he get that bump? We'll see, especially with Odell Beckham Jr. being there. And again, other receivers in New York as well. Or sorry, not in Tennessee. Sorry, what am I thinking? Being in Tennessee, of course, 1.4 million, getting that significant bump, that's probably going to be possible. He just has to play really, really well this season. Ruben Randle is the one I was going to be talking about. $1 million this season, the new receiver for the Giants. With Odell Beckham being probably the true number one at this point, how is Randle going to play on the outside? Is he going to play really well? We'll see about that. So that's it for the first topic of... Actually, no, we have a little bit more. Yeah, we do. With the Steelers and Hayward, looks like they reached a 6-year deal, pulling up the terms right now. I believe it's in the ballpark of at least $50 million, which is, again, really nice if you're him. He's the second highest paid player on the Steelers, right behind Ben Roethlisberger, of course. Which, again, normally, if you have a really good quarterback, then, of course, he's going to be the guy. No question about that. But yeah, $59.25 million, and of course, it's about a $12 million signing bonus and a $3 million roster bonus that is due soon, which is really nice. Hey, $3 million roster bonus, fantastic. And he's 26 years old. He led the team in sacks with 7.5 this past season. Always improved every season that he's been in the league. So good for him. I mean, I'm glad that there's a guy who is relentless on the outside. He's going to be huge for this new Steelers defense because they've had to revamp the last couple off seasons with Troy Polamalu gone, Ryan Clark gone from the safety position. The cornerbacks are up in age now, so it's going to be interesting to see how, now that they're kind of revamping it to a younger defense, that Hayward's going to be leading the way moving forward. And then, of course, Reggie Wayne is out there. He's still a free agent right now. He does have interest from several teams. So it's going to be interesting because Reggie Wayne he's going to play one more year, which would be his 15th season in the NFL. Can you believe that? It's unbelievable how time flies by when you're probably one of the most successful receivers in the league. I mean, he didn't have a great season last year. Probably his worst. I think it's worse since 2002, I believe. 64 receptions, 779 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a lot of injuries in the past season. But I think he would be probably good on a contending team. I'd say maybe go to Seattle, maybe New England. Teams that have a chance to win a championship. I think that for Reggie Wayne, if he wants to go out with a bang, that'd be great. If he wants to go for a payday, hey, I'm not blaming you. You got to make your money while you can. He finished his Indianapolis career with over 1,000 receptions, almost 14,000 yards, or more than 14,000 yards, 82 touchdowns, one of the best to ever play the game. Him and Marvin Harrison back in the day were probably some of the best, one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league, in my opinion. And then finally, of course, we have the Tom Brady appeal. It's interesting because it's 4 games. And, of course, the first 4 games for the Patriots are big ones, if I'm not mistaken. So let's pull up the schedule right now to see what their schedule would be, assuming that the Patriots would miss Tom Brady for the first 4 games of the NFL season. So first week would be against Pittsburgh, of course, the opening night. And then it would be at Buffalo, which is a team that's been on the rise. A lot of experts that say they are in contention for a playoff spot for the first time since 1999. That'd be great. And then, of course, Jacksonville. I think they'd probably win that one. They are at home against Jacksonville, and again, they're playing against a rookie second-year quarterback in Blake Bortles. So I think that could be a win there. And then they have a bye week, and then they would play at Dallas. So assuming that Brady's out for the